Have you ever seen a car that you can hug? Or a car that parks in an elevator? Today we will show you 10 of the craziest tiny electric cars that will change your perception of transportation. Well, let's go. A French battery-powered quadricycle. Imagine your smartphone suddenly grew to the size of a car, yet retained all its compactness and even a bit of childlike naivety. Congratulations, you have just invented the Citroën AMI. This French little one is so small that it could be mistaken for a toy car accidentally left in the parking lot. But don't be fooled, beneath this cute exterior lies a true urban fighter. Firstly, the AMI is not exactly a car. According to the documents, it is classified as a quadricycle. The French simply took 4 wheels, put a plastic body on them, added a steering wheel, and said voila, now it's a vehicle. And it worked, because the AMI doesn't require a Category B license, just a regular moped license is enough. Under the hood, if you can call it that, hides an electric motor with a whopping 8 horsepower. That's about the same as 3 hairdryers running at full speed. Acceleration to 45 km/h takes an eternity, a whole 10 seconds. But the range is quite decent, 70 kilometers. In the city, that's enough to get from the bakery to the coffee shop and back. And if it runs out of charge, just plug it into a regular outlet. Full charge in 3 hours, faster than your laptop. And now the most fun part, the design. The AMI looks like it was drawn by a child who just learned what symmetry is. The front and back are identical. The doors open in opposite directions. The left one opens forward, the right one backward, so everyone around thinks it's some kind of French art performance. And inside you're greeted by minimalism in the spirit of, I carry everything with me. There's a steering wheel, a seat, an accelerator pedal, a brake pedal, and that's it. Well, okay, there's also a couple of decorative switches for show. But the main thing is the emotions. You're not driving the AMI. You're riding it. A cyclist overtaking you? Yes. Are drivers of big cars teasing you? Of course. But you park perpendicular to the sidewalk, squeeze into any gap between cars, and feel like the king of narrow streets. You could say the Citroën AMI is not just a car, it's a way of life. A life without unnecessary complications, extra weight, and excess space. If you've always dreamed of driving a toaster, here it is, your chance. An electric bubble from Switzerland. The Swiss have done the impossible. They took the retro charm of the BMW Isetta, combined it with modern technology, and created the Microlino. This electric bubble on wheels looks as if it was just blown out of soap foam. The main feature of the Microlino is its door, or rather the lack of it. Instead of traditional doors, the entire front of the car tilts forward like a refrigerator. Getting inside. A whole adventure. But now you have a solid argument against passengers. Sorry, there's only room for me and my pride. Under this round hood hides an electric motor with 15 horsepower. Top speed is 90 km/h. But why rush when everyone is already turning to look? A range of up to 200 km, meaning you can travel from Moscow to Star City and back. Inside, everything is Swiss precision perfect. 2 seats, a steering wheel, and a minimum of buttons. Trunk? Well, a backpack will fit in there. Or 1 large pizza. Or a small dog. The main thing is not to carry everything at once. The Microlino is a way to stand out in a stream of identical sedans. It's impossible to look serious in it, but you can look happy. And isn't that the meaning of life? Half motorcycle, half car without doors. The French looked at regular cars, then at motorcycles, and decided, let's make something in between that will make everyone gasp. That's how the Renault Tweezy came about. A strange hybrid that can't be called either a car or a motorcycle, but it definitely makes passers-by point at it with their fingers. This electric oddity in cheerful colors accommodates 2 people, but the second passenger sits directly behind you, as if you're on a train ride attraction. There are no doors at all, but there are transparent curtains that create the illusion of protection from the rain. The wind will still get inside, but now you can feel like a hero from a bad sci-fi movie. The 17 horsepower motor accelerates the Tweezy to 80 km/h, but it's better not to do that. Otherwise you might accidentally fall apart into pieces. The range is about 100 kilometers. Just enough to get to your mother-in-law's and say with a clear conscience, oh, the battery is dead, I need to go home urgently. Driving the Tweezy is like riding a washing machine with wheels. Vibration, wild visibility, and a complete lack of sound insulation. But you can park it even in an elevator, and this little guy charges from a regular outlet. The Renault Tweezy is the choice for those who think normal cars are boring. It's not transportation, it's an attraction. And if you've always dreamed of driving something that makes people laugh and wonder, congratulations, you've found your dream. A mini tank for metropolises. If an armored vehicle and a smart car threw a secret party, their love child would be the Nimbus 1. This electric tough guy looks like it's ready to storm the urban jungle, but in reality, it just takes you to the nearest coffee shop. Swedish engineers were clearly inspired by combat vehicles when they crafted this masterpiece. Thick wheels, an angular body, and doors that open against the wind. The Nimbus 1 seems to shout, "I'm not parking, I'm deploying troops," although it only fits 2 people inside, and that's if they're on good terms. Under the steel armor hides a 13 horsepower engine. The maximum speed is 85 km/h, but it is advised to drive no faster than 60. We don't recommend it, otherwise you'll understand why this tank doesn't have a turret. However, the range is quite combat ready, 200 kilometers. The Nimbus 1 is for those who are tired of fragile city cars. This is not transportation, it's a statement. When everyone else is driving candy cars, you're rolling in a monolith. And even if people mistake you for a Secret Service agent, the main thing is that you're no longer afraid of traffic jams. An Italian gadget on wheels. When Italian designers are inspired by the iPhone, you get the XF YoYo electric car, which you want not to drive but to update via the App Store. This trendy gadget on wheels looks as if some giant tech geek left it in the park, and now it cheerfully winks at passers-by with its LED headlights. The main feature of the YoYo is its interchangeable body panels. Want yellow today and pink polka dots tomorrow? Go ahead, ne? Change the panels faster than a phone case. However, the neighbors will still recognize you by the distinctive sound. This little one hums like an electric shaver at full speed. Under the plastic body hides a motor with 15 horsepower. The range is a modest 150 kilometers, but it's more than enough for trips from the co-working space to the bar. The YoYo's interior is a cocktail of minimalism and quirky solutions. Instead of a dashboard, there's a solitary tablet in the middle, and the steering wheel resembles a game controller. And the seat? Well, let's just say, after half an hour of driving, you'll understand why Italians prefer to stand in cafes. The trunk is purely nominal, fitting perhaps a laptop and a bottle of Prosecco. But what does it matter when you have built-in Wi-Fi and a voice assistant that deliberately mangles your commands with an Italian accent? ThreeW.io. An accessory for those who change smartphones more often than socks. If your lifestyle trends are more important than comfort, this electric car is made just for you. Just don't be surprised when people start photographing you as a piece of modern art. 3-wheeled electric bike. This little creature, just over 2 meters long, accommodates only 2 people. You'll have to sit one behind the other, like on a sled, only without the snow and winter fun. But at least there's a roof, a real progress compared to motorcycles. Although there are no doors, so if you really try, you could fall out on a turn. An electric motor with 75 horsepower is hidden under the seat. Serious power for such a tin can. Acceleration to 100 takes 7.5 seconds, which is unexpectedly fast for a device that looks like a cross between a golf cart and a wheelchair. The maximum speed is 120 km/h, but at such speeds it's better to pray, as the aerodynamics of the FUV are like a brick. The charge lasts for 160 kilometers. Enough to get to the neighboring city and back if the neighboring city is 5 kilometers away. It charges from a regular outlet in 4 hours, about the same as your smartphone after a day of active TikTok use. This marvel is like a motorcycle, but it also has pedals in case you suddenly forget how to ride a motorcycle, and it has 3 wheels, which gives a false sense of stability. Until you try to brake sharply on a turn, it's an argument juve for those who find regular cars boring and motorcycles too dangerous. If you've always dreamed of riding something that makes police officers scratch their heads when they see you, the dream has come true. 1 passenger equals 1 door. Electromechanical. Salon. It's a cocoon for introverts on wheels, where your personal space is protected not only by social norms, but also by the body design. This single-seater electric car looks like it was designed for a hero in a futuristic movie, but they only allocated the budget for half a car. 3 wheels, 1 door, and 0 chances for passengers. The perfect transport for those who hate taxi drivers and random conversations. Under the hood hides a motor with 82 horsepower. Acceleration to 100 takes 8 seconds. Not bad for a machine that weighs as much as 3 adult hamsters. The maximum speed is 130 km/h, but I warn you, at that speed, the Solo starts to shake like a student at an exam. The charge lasts for 160 kilometers, just enough to escape civilization and then reconsider. It charges from a socket in 6 hours, just enough time to rewatch all the seasons of The Office. Inside, there's a Spartan interior, a seat, a steering wheel, and a minimum of buttons. There is no second rearview mirror. Why would you need it if you don't let anyone in the back anyway? The Electra Mechanica Solo is a manifesto against carpooling, against family trips, and against any hint of communication on the road. If you dreamed of a car that screams, "Leave me alone," without a single word, here it is. A car that shrinks? Israeli engineers have finally solved the age-old problem of parking. They created a car that compresses when you're embarrassed by its size. City. Transformer City 1. This is a transformer car that turns from a regular two-seater electric car into a narrow arrow to slip between parked cars. This clever vehicle can change its body width from 1.5 meters to 1 meter with the push of a button. Want to squeeze into a gap between two SUVs? Please. Need to drive through a narrow alley without problems. Just don't do it on the move, otherwise your car will become the most expensive accordion in history. Under the flexible body hides a 20 horsepower engine with a maximum speed of 90 kilometers per hour. But in the compressed state, it's better not to speed up, or it might suddenly expand at the most inconvenient moment. A range of 120 kilometers, which is enough for 5 laps around the shopping center in search of a regular parking spot. Before you remember about your super inside, everything is Spartan again. 2 seats, a steering wheel, and a button. Compress expand. There is a trunk, but it magically disappears when you switch to narrow profile mode. But now you can boast that your car can perform tricks that no Lamborghini can replicate. City. Each Transformer City 1. This is the choice for those who consider parking an extreme sport. If you think paying money for a car that literally folds in half just to avoid paying for parking is worth it, then this car is for you. The Italian electric bug. Italian specialists in the field of small sizes. They once again took the shape of a bug, added a pinch of madness, and created the Tazari Zero. An electric car that looks like it was just kicked off the racetrack for being overly confident. This little one, only 2.5 meters long, manages to combine a bold character with modest dimensions. Under the fiberglass body hides a 20 horsepower engine that accelerates this bug to 107 seconds. For a car the size of a coffee table, this is a real feat. The maximum speed is 100 km/h, but at such speeds it feels like the hood might fly off, along with the rest of the car. The charge lasts for 140 kilometers, just enough to drive through all the narrow streets of the hometown, gathering admiring glances. The Zero charges again in 6 hours, just enough time to enjoy an espresso, have a pasta lunch, and take a nap to Italian opera. The interior is minimalism in spirit. The less, the better. 2 seats, a steering wheel, and a dashboard with a single button. Air conditioning? Of course, but only if you consider an open-side window as such. The trunk is non-existent as a concept. But who actually carries cargo in a sports electric car? The smallest legend? In the 60s, the British created a car that could be mistaken for a refrigerator on wheels. The PLP-50 Marble is not just the smallest production car in the world. It's a 3-wheeled monument to human, why not? Length, 134 centimeters. Weight, 59 kilo. Power, 4.5 HP. These are not technical specifications, they are a cry from the heart of engineers tired of excess. The P50 is so small that it can be rolled into an elevator, brought into an office, and placed next to a desk. The main thing is that the boss doesn't mistake it for a new printer. The single door opens to the left, the only window doesn't roll down, and the single headlight illuminates as if it's shy, fitting just one person. Provided that they haven't had breakfast, the trunk is fundamentally absent. The maximum speed is 61 km/h, but in practice it doesn't go faster than 40. It's better not to accelerate, otherwise you might tip over from a gust of wind. The fuel tank holds 8 liters, enough to get from the pub to home and back, if home is across the street from the pub. Operating the P50 is a quest. There's no reverse gear, so to turn around, you need to get out and turn the car by hand. There is one brake pedal. Apparently, the creators assumed you would brake with your feet on the asphalt like on a scooter. It can be confidently said that the PLP-50 is not just a vehicle, it's a philosophy. A philosophy of less is more, taken to the absurd. That's all, friends. We have shown you 10 of the most incredible little wonders of the automotive industry that prove size isn't everything. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of tiny cars, hit like and subscribe to the channel.